G'day folks, and welcome to Robbie's emergency river roundup. Why am I calling it an emergency? That sounds like panic, but it's not really a panic. The reason I'm calling it an emergency roundup is because I usually do a river roundup at the end of each month, somewhere around the end of the month, start of the new month, just to let everybody know what the conditions are like in the waterways around northeast Victoria that I get to see quite often. But this is an emergency, and I'll tell you why, because there's been a lot of rain in the last couple of days, but it hasn't been widespread. I'm down here in the lower reaches of the Ovens River. The ground is bone dry, the track was dusty, the big black snake that just slithered across in front of the car is covered in dust. Just back there I saw him. There's no water in the puddles. They had not had a drop here. At my house in Wangaratta yesterday, I love seeing kookaburras. Sorry, that's just my ADHD playing up. I get distracted easily. At my house in Wangaratta yesterday, I had about 2 drops. Now all up I think I had 2 millimetres. Up at Carbor, which is over there, they had 95 millimetres of rain. Up at around the Boggy Creek section, up around some of the parts of the King Valley, they had similar amounts. Some sections of the Ovens Valley had 83 millimetres up around Ovens and places like that in your Robin. But it hasn't been widespread. But there has been a lot of heavy falls in isolated areas. And what this means is flash flooding, which will eventually push through here. Now down here at the moment, as I said, I am in the lower reaches of the Ovens River and it is looking absolutely glorious. I can actually see a spinnerbait hanging off that snag out there. Some poor bastard must have lost it last week and been too chicken to go in after it. The river's not that bad, there's no crocodiles. Here, now, the river looks fantastic. Within the next 24 to 48, or not even that, 24 to 36 hours, I'm expecting this to rise probably a foot, maybe 30, 40 centimetres, maybe even 50, but I don't know. But I'm expecting it to rise a little bit, but it is going to get filthy. I drove across 3 Mile Creek as I left Wangaratta today, only about half an hour ago. And the 3 Mile Creek was white. It was like a flavoured milk, like an iced coffee milk. It was just putrid, and it was up a couple of feet on normal. I drove across the King River out at Oxley. Well, I rode across. I went out there on my motorbike for a ride before. I had a quick look at the King River at Oxley, and it is filthy. It is stuffed. That water is all going to push down here. The 3 Mile Creek runs into the Ovens River about 7 or 8 kilometres downstream of Wangaratta. The King River runs into the Ovens at Wangaratta. So that water is all going to come down here in the next day or two. But then we've got the water coming down the Ovens River from all that rain that caused those landslides up near Bright the other day. That's going to come down, and this is going to turn to slop. I think tonight might be my last night to get a fish on a surface lure for the rest of my holidays, which end this weekend when I go back to work. I've been on holidays, incidentally, before you all comment and say, I wish I had a job like yours, Robbie. I'm on holidays. My employer's wonderful. They give me annual leave. That's how good they are. Sorry, as I was saying before I got carried away, these lower reaches of the Ovens River are going to be slop. The King River's stuffed already all the way through. The Ovens River is pretty much stuffed apart from the bottom section, which will probably be wiped out in the next day or so. And the Ovens River upstream of Wangaratta is clouding up as we speak because that filthy dirty water from up around Bright area is coming down now. If you're heading out after a cod this weekend, you want to avoid the Ovens and King River systems. I had to go to Albury this morning. I crossed the Murray River at Albury, and even that was off colour. I suspect that dirty water is coming out of either the Kiwa River or just some stormwater runoff in Wodonga. I'm not sure, but I do know that they had some good rainfall up in sections of the Kiwa Valley. So there's a little bit of dirty water coming down the Murray River as well, but nowhere near what's coming down the Ovens River in the next couple of days. So this weekend, if you want to head out after a cod, my advice is to head down to Lake Mulwala, but don't plan on solely fishing there in case that's stuffed. I think this dirty water, what quite often happens, it hits Lake Mulwala and then it dilutes in the clear water of the lake and of the Murray that's coming in. It might dilute and it might spread. I have actually seen it where the water over on the Kiffins Reserve side of the lake was much clearer than the water over on the Hogan's Road side. It's like the floodwater or the dirty water was washing out of the Ovens down into Lake Mulwala and just channeling across to the other side. I've also seen it when the dirty water's been on the Victorian side over near the Hogan's Road area. But one thing I do know, if the water's dirty at Hogan's Road or Majors Creek, go downstream. In Lake Mulwala, quite often, as this dirty water hits the lake, the sediment settles and the water at the lower end of the lake can often be much clearer. So if you're fishing Lake Mulwala this weekend, just head downstream because the water might be a bit clearer, and then go down the Murray where it's clearer again. And there's another tip, the flush is coming through. There's a flush on the way. This is a great time to get a fish. I'm going to be fishing with a lot of confidence tonight because I love fishing when I know that there's a rise on the way. Now this weekend, this rise will probably get down to Yarrawonga, so below Yarrawonga before the flush hits. I think you're going to be in with a good chance. So yeah, avoid, if you're heading up this way this weekend, avoid the Ovens and King Rivers completely, I can tell you that for a fact. The Broken I don't know about, I haven't seen. The Kiewa River could be hit and miss, I know they've had rain, so I'm not really sure. And I tell you what, after all this rain, now is a great time to try a trout lure. Or try trout fishing I should say. Because the fresh flush of water that's just pushed through would have washed copious amounts of worms and stuff into the system, and all sorts of microorganisms and food and crickets and grasshoppers and centipedes and you name it. And there is going to be a whole smorgasbord for trout, and they'll be putting on condition because the water's been a bit low and warm lately, and this will really stir them up. So while this heavy rainfall that we've had is going to stuff the cod fishing down here in the lower reaches, now's a great time to just hang your cod rod up for a week or two and go and try a trout stream. As far as Christmas is only a couple of weeks away. I don't know what the river's going to be like. It's hard to say. If we don't get any rain, I'd like to think it's going to clear out pretty well. But this time of the year when the river's really low, as you can see, the water flow is very, very slow. So these dirty flushes just take a long time to wash out. In the springtime, when the water's a metre or so higher, and there's a much bigger volume of water pushing that dirty water down, the flush pushes through a lot quicker. So it's very, very hard to say whether it's going to clear out in time for Christmas. I honest to God can't tell you that one, I'm sorry. But I do know this weekend this system is going to be pretty well knackered. So if you're going after a cod, head down to Lake Mulwala. Further down the lake the better. Just have a look and see. That's what I'd be doing. Have a look at the bait ramp at Majors Creek. If it's no good, go down to Hogan's Road or Buchanan's Lane and head down to towards the wall. You should be able to find some clear water somewhere. Other than that, try the Murray River downstream of Lake Mulwala. I think you might be pretty safe down there. Other than that, if you don't want to travel down there, head up the hills and chase a trout because now's a good time to get one with all this fresh water around. I'm going fishing before that mud and slop gets down here.